Hey, hi, how's it going? I have to label something really quick. I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. So we on the big screen that we were running the Wii on, that the kid threw the controller through the thing, and then we got the even bigger screen. We had been running when I first got the new screen set up. I put Sega Genesis there. Pictorial. Just look. That computer only has HDMI in. Or I'm sorry, not the computer. The monitor only has HDMI in. And somewhere along the line of the translation, going from what was that? I think it was not an original Sega Genesis. It's an aftermarket, but it runs the cartridges. That one actually has the 3 RCA connectors, so it has the yellow RCA, so that's composite. So we have a converter that converts composite and audio left-right to HDMI. And somewhere in that translation, it looks like ass. So, we ran that for a couple days. I was like, yeah, no. We got the Xbox. We hooked the Xbox up, and we've been running Burnout Paradise on it. And kids love it because it's actually a really good game to have in this environment, because people can sit down, they can drive it around, drive the car around, jump over some stuff, run into some stuff, set down the controller after 5 or 10 minutes, have a perfectly good fun, but they're not invested in the game, right? It's just sort of fun. So that's been running for a little while. It was time to change it up. So right now, I have, hold on, let me camera Safari this, just because it's so hilarious. Boop-a-doop. Oh, there's Mick. Hi. Hook a sister up with some Joe looks. Like the coffee station is up and running. I'll tell you about that. It's funny. Well, not really funny. It's sort of sad, but okay. All right, let me convert this over, and I'll show you what I'm running on the big screen. JRSC, you have made it. Hello, how are you? Oh, now where's my little controller thingy for it? Darn it. There it is. There it is. All right. Let me switch over to the camera, and I will show you is the most hilarious thing to have up and running on a 65-inch screen. You ready for this? Yes, that is Atari 2600. It's actually a clone, but it runs the original cartridges. It's a retcon. These are super cheap, so if a kid breaks it, I don't care. New controllers, they should last a lot better than the, yeah, and so we're running combat right now. So the one thing I had to label really quick, I had to put these labels on. They say top because people don't know how to hold these controllers, which is hilarious. But I have all of these fantastic titles. Look at this. Yar's Revenge, Moon Patrol, the single best Atari game ever made. Oh yeah, E.T. the Extraterrestrial. I've got that just to piss people off. Pac-Man, got Pac-Man. This one, like, this is a cartridge that's seen some love or neglect. I don't know which is which. Berserk. Here's one for the arcade, right? Video pinball, hilarious. The one thing that I'm missing in here is Pitfall. I don't know where Pitfall has gone off to. Look at this. Look. Mario Brothers. Astro Blast. This was who made these? These are a Mattel game. Yeah. Black Attack. Yeah, so we're rocking the Atari 2600 games right now. Super fun. All right, while I've got this, I'll show you a coffee station. This was our thing in the back. I've got this hooked up. This is all working. So, water filtration. Every time I turned around, I was having problems with these. They were leaking. The plumbers originally put this stuff way too far forward. It should be farther back. So we built a false wall. We have the electrical behind this wall in receptacles, and that just kind of keeps things tidy. And then I'm going to build a thing that goes across here, and that will hide all of this nonsense. And then there'll be a place for a little garbage can or a knockout or something like that here. But you won't see all this. Yeah. So let me switch back to this, and I will switch back to this, and I'll put this back in my pocket because it's too difficult to hold. So our coffee adventure. David Treadwell is here. Hello. Says greetings from my. JRSC says hi. I'm here almost 1 a.m. here, but nice to see you live again. David says greetings from my MP arcade on a Saturday night. Our business is worse than a Sega Genesis run on an HDMI monitor. I'm sorry to hear that. We have actually. This is a calm before the storm for us, where most of this month has been a little bit slower than normal. School goes out next week, and after that, shit hits the fan for 3 months. So while we're making a little bit less money right now, I've been focusing on getting a bunch of little projects banged out and getting a bunch of stuff done before. Like next week, we're open 7 days a week. Next week. So yeah, it's going to be a little bit crazy. Also, this is our first summer here, and it's already way too hot in here. It's been a good day today. It was 21 outside. I have the back bay door open since I got here. The back bay door has been open. I actually have I have a nice breeze running through here, and it's not too. It's like 23 in here right now, so it's tolerable. But yesterday it was like 27, 28 in here, which was forget about it. We were giving people free water and little frozen freezies. We do have our air conditioner. People are installing the air conditioner on July 8th at 8 a.m. That's a Tuesday. We're gonna put it right in the back in this lower camera here. Let me go to it. We're gonna put the head of it basically where my head is. Hello, it's gonna be right here. We have this little arrow sign here above the little mini games. that little arrow sign says toilet, and it points to go up the little ramp along that wall. We're actually going to put the head of the mini split there. That wall is sort of angled, so it actually, if I'm standing over here, it'll point right at me. So that should provide pretty good airflow throughout the space. We're not putting in the world's biggest mini split. We're just putting I think it's a 24,000 BTU thing. I wouldn't want to run it all the time, but like yesterday when it gets really, really hot, and we don't have a whole ton of days like that. So yesterday when it got really, really hot, we'll just lock it, we'll close everything down, we'll fire that thing up, we'll leave it running overnight kind of thing, and it'll cool things off. But the bay door is really nice when it's not like at night. When it starts to cool down a bit, we can open up the bay door and we have a nice breeze going through here. I also have done a little preemptive heat mitigation. This was my big project I wanted to get done. Let me go back to my my thing. Oh, did I close it again? I closed it again. Hold on just a second. I think these guys are getting ready to leave. No, we'll do it after this. Hold on a second. Amuse yourselves for a moment.
Dad, can I get this?
No.
A smaller one, Daddy?
There you go.
Dad, can I get smaller one? Smaller one?
Yeah, you get small. No, it's still too big. Just do one of these.
No, Mom, what's this?
That's too big. No, too much. Too much sugar. You already had something anyway. You had some fire. You get one little thing. You have water and already one thing. You have some chippies at home.
Dad, this is small. That's too big.
No, too big. You can get a small one.
No, not too.
Yeah.
Can I get a gumball machine?
Unbelievable. A little bigger stay at home, eh, for you?
Can I get a couple of these?
Yeah, you get a couple of those. That looks like more than a couple to me. Put some back. You can get something. Something small. I said something small, you're not listening. You got chips at home. Yeah, I guess so. You gotta share with back some.
Can I do this, Dad?
Yeah, that's $1 a play.
There, nope, you got one flag, one loony. There, that's your one thing that you got.
What?
What?
So you just press this button?
You put the loony in, then you press the button. There you go. You gotta press that. There, you got your one little thing. Good job.
Ah, I'm glad that worked out.
Ooh, that was Twizzler. Here's your water. Hold your water.
Can I do another one, Daddy?
One more. Here, I'll sit. Can I get a couple of loonies?
Yeah, you bet.
Yeah, you got two more. That's your thing. Don't ask for no more.
No.
There you
There you
go.
go. Yeah, two more straws. doesn't, you don't get one every time. Oh, worry about it. That's the luck. It's a game.
Stupid.
Well, don't play. Here, you get this to your sucker.
What? Stop. Stop it.
Zach, you already got the chocolate bar. And you're on the bed. You can take that. Yeah, you can take that. Keep your sucker in there.
Don't put one of them. Oh.
You can take that. That's it there. Here, get your Tic Tacs. This, hold it. No, you can't trade.
All right.
No, you're not having a big sucker. You're not listening. Are you getting the color Tic Tacs?
All right. All together, $12.82.
You're going to end up leaving with us if you don't grab something big. You can have a Tic Tac.
Oh, hold on a second here. 7. Let me give you another dime. There you go.
Once you start trucking it ready. Hey, buddy. Oh, you have a lot of money. What? Yeah, right. Okay, it's go time back.
Sorry, one more minute. These guys are almost done.
Here, have these. Here, bring those chips. You like Pringles? All right, that's good. Come on, get it. Let's get it.
Mini gumball. Awesome. $3.74.
There you go, sir.
And a 5.
All right,
Yep.
keep it. All right, thanks. See
Thank
you
you.
later.
Thanks. See ya.
See you guys.
Okay, let's see. Okay. Mick says, when the summer humidity hits in Canada, it's no longer fun. Yes, that's true. I was in Toronto on a business business mission, and it was just brutal. Man, it was brutal. And it wasn't really that hot. It was maybe 25, but it was like 4,000% humidity. It was just, yeah. You would walk and just, it was like getting sprayed with a hose. Will 2 little mini splits be enough? What about ceiling fans? They will assist in both winter and summer. Yeah, I think just the 1 mini split, that end, we'll try it. It's $5,000 to install all in. There is the province gives you, well, I'll get $900 back as a rebate. And then we're going to see if the building owner is going to split the cost with us. So it would be out of pocket for us $2,000. The building owner is investing a lot in the property right now. We were supposed to have our back brickwork redone last week, but it didn't work out. They got way behind and all this other stuff. But I think $2,000 is like nothing for this building, and if we ever move out, it's just a selling point because, you know, they pay for heating in the winter. It's oil heat, and the heating in the winter does really, really well, but there's no cooling at all in any of these units except for I think the one at the far end. 2 doors down, there's a vinyl press. They do vinyl record. And they have a swamp cooler. They open up their bay door and they fire up their swamp cooler. But I can't I mean, I could build a swamp cooler. There's nothing to that. It's just basically the power to run a fan and some water pumps. But I don't want the humidity in here for that. So I'm doing other things to mitigate the heat. And I'll show you. I was just going to show you this. So we've got, let me switch over again to Camera Safari Adventure Time. Where's Sophia tonight? You were in Toronto and didn't call. I try not to be hurt. That was like 6 years ago. I had to go to Toronto several times on business. We had a data center there, kind of not too far away from the CN Tower, so I always just that was sort of my stomping ground. But yeah, Sophia's home gardening and doing other things. Right now she's coming in Thursdays and Fridays at the moment. So, and we didn't get around to doing we were going to try and do a live stream yesterday, but it was too hot and I wasn't feeling it. So, all right, Camera Safari Adventure Time. All right, so this is what I did. We had this string fridge and this string fridge were squished together. This string fridge was here. Okay? And this was our tariff-free fridge. It had drinks from all over the world except for the US. So that was our tariff-free fridge. Now, both of these units have, their cooling is on the top. Both of these were like Pepsi and Coke loaner fridges. So Pepsi or Coke would bring these into units that were selling enough of their product or whatever. And the refrigeration units are just on the top and they just pop off of there, like 4 bolts and the whole thing comes off. And they did that so that if there was a problem with one of these units, they could bring in a new refrigeration unit. They wouldn't work on it on site. They'd bring in a new refrigeration unit, they'd pop it in place, they'd pull the old one and leave. And they could have the fridge up and going again in 10 minutes, right? This is a newer one, refrigeration's on the bottom. So these actually crank out a lot of heat. Let's have a look. But it's all at the top. So what I thought was, I did this at the other location too, when I just had one of these fridges, and I had built this little, it's a little foam core board that went around it, that cold drinks thing. It went around the top, and I had an air vent that just sucked the air out. The air vent, I put a fan in the little air vent in the ceiling at the other location, and it just pushed the air into the non-existent AC ductwork. The AC units were broken. But if we look at the FLIR camera, and we go over here, this is why that says it's 48 degrees back in that little pocket. So I just built this little foam core thing, that little skirting that goes around it. And right in that back corner up there where it says it's 40 whatever, in that back corner I cut a hole. There's a duct that goes up, and then there's a fan duct. So let's go look at that. I can do it as long as nobody comes in. Oh yeah, look at this. We'll talk about that later. So this duct is currently, comes out of the floor. I don't know if you can see. And it's 38 degrees. And that ductwork goes up. And then that is an inline fan, and it is currently cooking at 46 degrees. That goes up along here, and it goes along here, and it goes over here. And you see this little pipe that comes up and out? This is the air vent from the washroom down below. So this just goes up to the ceiling. So I tapped into it. That's another duct fan right there. That's a 4-inch duct fan that joins to this pipe. And then this is the one that comes from the outside. And it's 33 degrees right up there. So this is pulling the hot air from this space. And this is pulling the hot air from down in the candy store. And right now it is a little hot, but the temperature reading right here that you can't read says 27 degrees. So it's a little warmer than I want it to be. But not a bad solution to get all that heat out of here. Now what I need to do is I need to insulate this. And that should help in the summer. And I've got my workbenches getting closer. I've got these two machines. These used to be in the arcade. I'm going to sell these. So they're fine, but I don't need them anymore. Yeah, so that definitely keeps this space, because we're just extracting that hot air and spitting it right outside. I was going to actually do this and do like a little duct fan here and come down and just spit it out here, but I like having these windows open. So it was a little bit of extra work to do that, but it seems to be working just fine. And the minute that I put that skirting around there, got the duct all connected, turned it on, I don't remember if I didn't have both windows open. I think I only had one window open, but I turned it on and it dropped a degree in here in a matter of like just a few minutes. It was pretty cool, pretty incredible. So basic stuff that you can do that really helps. All right, let me switch back. I think we're done with the Camera Safari Adventure Time. So, right. Vic says you're off the hook for not calling 6 years ago. Okay. Yeah. So now my coffee story. So I got we got the. Well, the first thing that happened is we had the big machine here, right? We have a big 2-group Simonelli machine. And it's a pretty nice machine. I bought it from a coffee, from an espresso cafe in Kitsilano, Vancouver. They were going out of business. He was just liquidating everything. I bought that coffee machine for $500, I think. And I bought the red zip grinder, the Pavoni zip grinder. That's just, it's one of those industry standard workhorses that just lasts forever. I think I got it for like $50. And some other stuff. But the espresso machine was supposed to have been cleared with water. It clearly wasn't, which I didn't realize that. And I've been packing it around for a few years. It was in one of the shipping containers that had the pinball machines in it that came over here. And it's been sitting in the shipping container outside my house now for a few years or whatever. We brought it in here. I was fully expecting it to work. Apparently there was a little bit of water left over in the copper tubing that sits in the bottom of the machine. And apparently at some point it froze. So see you later. So it did a little bit of damage. The nice thing, oh, hold on a second. See you later. Well, let me back up. So we've been trying to get this stupid coffee going for years, right? And it's just one thing after another. We don't have the right amount of space. We don't have the right space. So we knew we were going to put it here. When we had the electrical in, the electrical was run. I looked at the specs on that, and it said 20 amps for this espresso machine. So we ran a 20 amp wire to here, and then the receptacle wasn't put on it. So the other week, it was like, okay, it's time to get this hooked up. I looked at the receptacle on the espresso machine, and I'm like, this looks like a 20 amp, 120 volt. But the blade, they have like one blade is horizontal and one is vertical, but it seemed like it was backwards to me. And it was, because it was 20 amp, 240 volts, and we ran a line for not that. So that was the first. We had to get a new line run. I had to buy a new breaker for that 3-phase panel that we've got here. That breaker, a 20 amp, 240 volt breaker, was $200. So that sucked. And it was probably an extra. No, I had the cable. That's right. I had the cable from the other location, so we were able to. We had enough armored cable that we could just drop it in place. So then we got the water hooked up, and I have two filters. It goes to the sediment filter and it goes to charcoal filter, and those use a 3/4 inch screw tip, and then they're going down to 1/2 inch pecs. But I could not get those locations where it joins in to the filtration. They were just leaking like a sieve. I had to put so much Teflon tape on there to get it to not leak, and I was using the right size fitting, so I don't know what the hell's going on with that. But I mean, maybe they were brass fittings, so maybe this is the kind of thing where it wants plastic fittings or something. I don't know, whatever. I got to figure it out. What I probably should have done is it's all plastic stuff. I should have just gotten the right fittings and just glued them in place, and then just been able to swap. Anyway, so that was kind of a pain in the ass to do. We finally got that going. Then I don't have. You're supposed to have a pressure gauge for stuff that goes to espresso machines and stuff. I don't have one yet. So I was like, I'm just gonna hook this up. I'm gonna hook up the espresso machine. I'm not gonna plug it in yet, but I'm gonna hook the water up to it, and I'm just gonna turn the water on very, very slightly and let it just trickle fill the boiler, and then we'll fire it up and flush it a few times. So I did that. I could hear water running. It seemed like it was doing what it was supposed to be doing. And then I looked, and I had water all over the place. And so there's an electronic valve that fits onto this brass T-square that had been blown out, probably from it freezing. There was another little copper pipe that was split, expanded out, like alien chest burster style, probably from a frozen line. And then there's one other junction that probably just needs to be tightened and everything. So I'm like, crap. We're this far away we're like this close to getting the coffee going, and now our machine is hooped. So I'm talking to Sophia about it. I'm like, I could probably fix it, but I have to source the parts, and I don't have time. Like, the last thing we have time for now, we're on the verge of our crazy period. So, like, I could probably, in the winter, I could probably fix it. I could probably source the parts and do all this. I've never worked on an espresso machine like that, but how hard could they be? Like, it's just some pump, some tubing, it's like some fiddly bits. It's no big deal. So like, well, maybe we could lease a machine. Well, there's nowhere on the island that leases espresso machines. So I started looking off island. There are a few places, but then I found a couple of machines for sale off island. One is a 2 group and another is a 3 group. And the 3 group is, then they both are being sold used, $3,000. I'm like, okay, we can take the plunge, we can buy them, whatever. We'll get the other one fixed up. We'll keep one. We'll sell the other one. The 3 group was way too big. Like, I don't have space for a 3 group, and I'm never going to need a 3 group. The 2 group was attractive. I looked at the specs on that, and it wants 35 amp 240. So back to the drawing board, we have to run new lines. We'd have to get another breaker, blah, 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 blah. I mean, I guess I could run a 40 amp. I have a 40 amp breaker but in there already. I could run that, but yeah, so I made a few calls. I actually found a guy off island. He's in Moncton, so that's 2 hours away. and I talked to him. I told him what's going on, and he knew exactly what was going on with it. And so next Tuesday, we're gonna drive over. We're gonna dump the machine on him, and I'm just gonna say, just give it a work over. Because if he gets it all cleaned up, gets it all beautiful and sparkling brand new, and it costs us $1,000, I'm still ahead of the game because I only bought it for around 500. So I'd be 1,500 into it. And if most of the 2 group machines around here are going for $2,000 to $3,000, I'm still ahead of it. So that's what we're doing. I don't know how long it's going to take us, but in the meantime, we do have our E61 head machine here, and this is enough. We've got everything done. Our hand sinks are done. We have to have paper towels and soap dispensers by our 2 hand sinks. And we've got our two sinks back there for doing the sanitation and cleaning. Everything's all cleaned up in the back room. We're all ready to go. Basically, we just need to call PEI to say, we want to do coffee, come and inspect our location. And then we'll have to get the food permit and everything. It shouldn't be a problem. And we'll start with this dorky little machine. This is great for just making espresso. I don't know about doing steamed milk on it yet. I should probably try that. I mean, it's a pretty good machine. It's a good little machine, but whatever. Steaming stuff might take a little bit, but hopefully it'll just be people ordering ice drinks. So, yeah. Mick says, how long did you have to wait for 3-phase? JSC's, I know a guy who knows another guy. Yeah, we didn't have to wait for 3-phase. That's what was in the building. This whole building is run. And actually above here, that guy right there, that's an extra line of 600 volt 3-phase that we can drop in here if we needed to. When we moved in here, there was a wall right here, and they were tapped into the 600 volt, and they had another breaker down here for that, because they had a bunch of big machinery in here. So, I mean, if we have a 100 amps 3-phase, which take us pretty far, really, because we have a whole extra leg that we can play with off of what like you would normally have on like a home 100 amp thing. So I mean, theoretically, I could break out that one. I could break it out to another sub panel that just uses one leg. We could isolate all the other legs. We could have probably another 75 amps or something like that. I'd have to have someone do the math for me, but all of this is all perfectly fine for where I don't think we're ever going to run out of juice here, so it's been fine so far. Yeah. 3-phase pre-installed. Yeah. It's a 1,000-year-old breaker. That is what is it? It's a Federal Pioneer with the little stab lock breakers. And unfortunately, I've had to buy some breakers for it, and they've been, I think the single phase, the single pole 15s and 20s have been about $100 each, and then my double pole 20 that I got was $200, and I have what else is in here? There's a 3-phase 20. There's 2 3-phase 20s that take up a lot of room. And because we were running out of outlets and stuff, those 3-phase ones, the electricians just attached one hot line to one leg of the 3-phase. So we're basically just using one breaker on this just joined 3-phase 20. So if I needed a little bit more room, I could buy 2 more single pole 20 amps. We could pull both of those 3-phase ones out, and that would give us 4 more spaces. I don't think I need it though. so far we haven't needed it. But yeah. Anyway, that's the thing. And and we're gonna need we have a 60 amp in there, a 2-pole 60. That one's coming out because we won't ever need the 60 amp, probably not. And where that one is, we're gonna put in, I think it's a 35 amp. That's the heat pump guys are gonna install that for us. They have breakers. They'll get breakers for all of it. So, do you have a power meter showing how much juice is being used live? I have access to it. It's down in the electrical room that's in the middle of this building. I actually have, I can't use it on this because this is 3-phase. I'd have to get another sensor. I have a Impora device, which we used at the other location. The owners of the building listed the place for lease. This is where we first started, at the pizza place. They were in the red forever. So, and nobody wanted to sit in their dirty old restaurant. So they're like, we'll lease half the building, and they were going to, because they didn't want to split out electrical and do all that. I was the first to respond and talk to them, and they said, well, electrical's included. And I said, I'm going to throw a bunch of machines in. And they said, oh, electrical isn't included. We're going to have to figure out something to show how much you're using. So what we did there, they have 600 amps coming into the building. But they're only using service on the island. You can get 100 amp service, you can get 200 amp service, or you can get 600 amp service. So this restaurant installed the 600 amp service, but their panel was only a 200 amp panel. But more than enough power. So our electrician split off of the incoming. We put in a 200 amp breaker, and then we ran a line over from that split over. It was actually a 200 amp fuse and switch, and then that went over to a line to our 200 amp panel that I put in temporarily, and then from that we ran all this external conduit, and that's what powered all the machines. So to figure out how much we were using, I got this thing called an Impora. I've got it here. It's basically this little device. It gets its power. You tap these legs into you can double tap them into a breaker if you want, or if you have a spare breaker, you can just throw them on a 15. And then these little clamp sensors go on your poles. There's 2 of them. So this works on like a regular system. You could also hook this up if you have solar panel, and like I have solar at home, and I have a panel dedicated. I could put one of these on each leg that goes to the feed to the power company, because we sell off the power that we generate that we don't use in real time. So I could put these on it if I wanted to. So I guess I could get, if I could get one more of these, because it'll do 3-phase, 1, 2, and 3. I could do that. I could hook this up to that, to each leg, and then it connects by Wi-Fi to an app. So I could see how much I was pulling at any time during that. I actually I didn't know what I was going to do with that, but maybe I should do that. That would be sort of interesting to see. And I've already got it. I could probably, they don't, this is the View, it's called the View Generation 2, and they're on Generation 3. So I could probably find one of these sensor clamps for fairly inexpensive. I think I have room in there for it. I could just set it off to the side or something. Yeah, maybe I'll think about that. And it actually has all these little sensor attachments, so that you can actually put, these are designed for your main power input, and then these are designed to connect. There's a There's 16 of them, and these are supposed to connect to individual breakers, so that you can basically see the app for it. You can designate each one of these, like if one of them is your kitchen and one of them is just for like a deep freezer, one of them's for your furnace, one of them's for a heat pump. You could dedicate all of these and it'll break down what your power usage is, and yeah, it's kind of cool. But we use this to figure out how much power we were pulling at the other location for machines. So I could hook this up. That was quite a sidetrack, wasn't it? Yeah, I have all this extra stuff around from that, and the 200 amp panel I have. There were 4 2-pole 20 amps in there, breakers in there, and then there were 4 of them. Then I had 2 more that I never used, and then I had a bunch of 20 amp single poles. I think there were 5 of those. They're all brand new, and they were just sitting off to the side. Like if we needed them for something, we could just tap them into this panel and whatever. Panel's practically new. We used it for 2 years, but just kind of sat there, right? I think I paid like $350 for the panel, and then all the breakers and stuff. Another, I don't know. The breakers are cheap. They're like, the single poles were 13, and the doubles were I think 25 or something.
Yeah, I was gonna get a coffee.
Are you getting?
Are you done with this?
I'm not done with that. No.
Oh,
I'm
sorry.
gonna get a coffee though.
Maybe.
All right, that's the espresso bar.
Yeah.
All right, with tax, $23.
Cool.
And go ahead.
I might get an apple ginger ale. Yeah.
Yeah, let me know what you think of this. I love it myself.
Yeah.
I think it's the best ever. Yeah.
It's a coffee blend that they get from
Vancouver.
Yeah.
Cool.
It's a company called Artigiano. They were an Italian company that came to Vancouver and decided to open a coffee place, and then just kept growing. Yeah.
That is good.
And what I find really interesting about their cafes is when you go into espresso places, if you go into a Starbucks, everybody is drinking coffee infused with buckets of sugar because their coffee is not very good, so they're masking it. If you go into a fairly good coffee place, people are drinking lattes and Americanos or something like that. You go into Artigiano and it's like half of the place just has single shot espresso cups in front of them.
Oh wow.
Because it's not bitter. It's
Yeah.
like it's got this really nice caramely overtones. Like it's just amazing coffee. So it's really funny that and it's consistent with all of their locations that you go in and there's just a lot of people just drinking straight espresso.
Yeah.
So when we were going to do the coffee, it was one of those things that whose beans are we going to use? And we were talking to people around here. I'm like, God, I would love to use theirs. And I just bugged them. And, and it worked out. All right. $7.59. Now I have to figure out a way to get Dippy Bird to turn it, and kind of this like the start of a big Rube Goldberg monstrosity, and then the remote control poop goes around, and
What's it?
it has a little fart button.
Amazing.
Off-road poop.
Cool. Good to know. Have a good night, man. Thanks for
All
having
right,
us.
see you guys.
See ya.
I think we're empty at the moment. Hold on just one second. I'm gonna go and reset some games. right, I think that's it. I'm going to turn off the overhead music for the moment, and I'm going to close my front door so that I can hear it go ding ding when people walk in. Because I have the door propped open. Alright, what time is it? It is 9:40 and we're empty. I wonder if we will see anybody else. JRSC says that would be interesting. I recently got smart meters and it's good to see how much is being used and how to save electricity too, or know if something I've left on accidentally. We had, our house in Mission had a smart meter, and we got a little device that actually was just, it's a wireless device, and we just stuck it on the fridge and it would show you inside the house what your current usage, and it was kind of cool, right? And it does help. You look at it and you're like, where's all that power coming from? And then you go around and maybe you switch everything to LEDs, and you get on this kind of kick of like, let's see how low we can get it to go to just sort of maintain itself. Yeah. Are you open late now, summer hours? In fact, I have to change my sign. That's something I'm going to do before I leave tonight, because tomorrow's Sunday? Is this Saturday? I don't even know what day it is. I think tomorrow is Sunday. Let's check, shall we? Yes, tomorrow is Sunday. Tomorrow is the official start of our tourist season hours. So we're open a whole extra half hour tomorrow. We used to be open on Sundays until 8 p.m. But I think for the most part, in our non-tourist season hours, the place usually starts to clear out by 6. Just because everybody's got work on Monday and whatever, and we'd have quite a crowd would come in. Usually it starts at 1, and 1:30, and then we have this big spike of traffic, and then it kind of trickles out, and usually by 6, almost everybody is out. So this year, last year, holiday hours, we were open until 8 p.m. on Sunday, but this year what I'm doing is I'm going to be open until 7, but our winter hours we close at 6:30. This time on Sundays I'm going to be open until 7, but since I'm working that day, I'll just be super flexible. So if we have people that are coming in, like let's say they come in at 6:30, and they want to play a couple hours, I'll let them, right? Like, especially if it's a group of people. And we're going to play it by ear, but maybe what I'll do for Sunday is just say the last people that can come in, like the last admittance will be at 7. And then if you show up before 7 o'clock, you can get 2 hours in, like I'll say 2 extra hours. That might be a good way to do it, and then just have those days sort of flexible. And we could do that on other days too, because we're closing at 8 p.m. Monday through Thursday. But there were some Wednesdays that would get really, really crazy, and people would come in kind of late. So and that's an easy thing to do. We don't have to adjust our hours. We just put a little sign up that says last admittance is at 8. And then if someone comes in 8 and they want to stay 2 hours, then I stay 2 hours. So I'm willing to do that, especially if it's like a group of 4. It pays for itself. So, and then we're still doing. So we'll be open 7 days a week, and then Friday, Saturday we'll be open from noon until 11. And I've been talking to more and more people that work in this neighborhood, and there's nothing in this neighborhood as for food and other stuff. We have people that are coming in now for drinks and snacks and all this stuff. I don't know what's going to happen, but it's entirely possible that we're going to be opening before noon, just to deal with the people in the area, like making them coffee and like maybe we'll get donuts or something like that. There's a bakery down the street in Cornwall, which is where our old location was, the town of Cornwall. It's called Mary's Bakery, and they're well loved on the island. Their cinnamon rolls people love them. So that's one of those things that we could bring those in fresh every day. And I think that they do other things like bagels and stuff. If we are, if we get our food permit, then we could do sandwiches. Like, I don't want to get into a whole lot of food, but you know, if we can open up a new revenue stream at times that we're normally, like we open at noon on Wednesday, and we don't often see people in until 3. I mean, we get people that trickle in. It's after work hours that we start seeing people. So if we open like our regular hours and we're open on a Wednesday at noon, or we open at 10, let's say, and we have a whole revenue stream of people coming in, and I'm, instead of, you know, showing them how to play bar billiards, I'm making them a sandwich, I'll do that, right? So it's something that we're going to explore. We'll see if it works out. My whole business attitude is we try something. We don't invest a lot of money, but we try something. If it works, we lean into it. So I think the coffee will be. I drink coffee all the time, so I want a really nice coffee machine just to keep me moving. If nobody buys coffee, I'm going to be fine with it, right? Like, it would suck after we refurbish this machine and go through all this process. I think it'll be fine, but it's one of those things that even if we don't make a whole ton of money off the coffee, I'll be okay with that. But I think that we'll do okay. And so then it's like, okay, what else do we lean into coffee related stuff? And do we get we're going to do basically the basic espresso menu of the top like 6 items. So we'll do lattes, Americanos, cappuccinos, mochas, hot chocolate, tea kind of thing. I'm not going to dick around with like flat white, because a flat white is basically just the Australian version of a latte. It's percentages is all it is. I'm not going to put a flat white on the menu, but if someone wants a flat white, I'll charge them for a latte, because it's a fucking latte. JRC, is there tables to sit with coffee except rather than them being near machines? If someone wanted them in here, we'll put them in paper cups with the hat on it, and we have the drink holders and stuff. We bought 2 picnic tables that are outside now, so someone could sit outside. We actually had people today. They came in, they played for a while. On their way out, they bought drinks, and then they sat outside at the 2 picnic tables. And then we had another group that sat outside at the picnic tables before they came in. So it's nice that we just bought them and they're being used. So that's always a cool thing. 7 selection, yeah. And we're gonna do my drink, which I've told this story before, but I used to drink mochas. That was always my espresso drink of choice. And one day I was like, I don't need all of this fat and calories from the milk. There's like no calories in an espresso. I think just a straight espresso has like, no real calories. But I like chocolate and coffee together, so I just was like, I'm gonna have an Americano with chocolate, with like a squirt of chocolate, just to give it a little sweet, and I like the flavor. So that's been my drink for 20 years is an Americano with chocolate. And I never see it on menus or anything. So that's going to be our house special, is the Americano with chocolate. And we're going to bring in different chocolates for people to try. So we'll have the basics. I have some here. So just the basic stuff like Torani, and then Ghirardelli chocolates, stuff like that. And these will kind of be always on the menu. Maybe I'll have a Hershey's. There's another company that makes they're just a basic food service company. I forget the name of them, but it's just sort of a generic, basic, like no frills, coffee-ish type thing. And then we got these. Unfortunately, this isn't going to work out for us, but this is dilettante chocolate. This is from the U.S. They're from Seattle. This is one of my favorite chocolates ever. We were going to bring this in, but then they don't ship to Canada. So Sophia's sister, we were going to have them shipped to a little town called Sumas, which is just right on the other side of the border of Abbotsford, BC, and Sophia's sister lives in Abbotsford, BC. So the idea was we ship from Seattle to Sumas. She goes down, crosses the border, gets our chocolate, brings it across the border, goes right to a post office and ships it to us. And we did that. We have 4 gallons of this stuff, I think, in there now that we did as a test run just to see how it would work. And it was fine. We wouldn't have to do it very often. That's going to be the specialty chocolate. That's going to cost an extra $1 or something if you wanted a shot of that. So it probably won't go real quick. This will probably last us a little while, and in the fridge it should last quite a long time. But now with the whole tariff thing and the ICE people and all the craziness, that like I'm not going to ask any Canadian to go into the United States. I don't know what's going to happen at the border, and it's too risky for her. So we're not going to do that. So we'll just do without. We'll get what we can get up here. I would like to find some really nice Canadian chocolates. And it'll be one of those things, like I want to have like 4 chocolates. We'll have a basic one that doesn't cost really any extra. We'll have a couple that are like 50 cents. We'll have one high end that's like a really nice, kind of a hard to get chocolate or something. And so people can choose what they want. And if they don't care, then we'll just give them whatever is the basic one. And that will be the chocolate Americano, the Chocacano. That's what I'm going to call it, the Chocacano. Chocacano. Yeah. What else is going on? I don't know what else is going on. It's been really nice to get all these little projects out of the way, though. Getting the workshop up and running is fantastic. I got those 2 machines set up back there. I really wanted to see how many machines I'd be able to set up back there. If I really, really needed to, and I didn't have any, I have 2 folded back there and 2 set up. So if I really, really needed to, for some reason, I could have 3 machines set up to work on back there. But probably what's going to be more like it is I'll have like 2 or 3 folded and 1 set up. I have to work on Skateball, and I have to work on Dragon. Dragon has a start motor major malfunction problem. I'm not excited to look into that because it could just be completely destroyed. But good coffee doesn't need all the additives. No, that's the thing. Is it's and the coffee beans that I got are just amazing. Like they're just perfect. But those coffee beans with a little hint of that dilettante chocolate, man, there's just nothing like it. It's really a unique. And that coffee itself, like going into an Artigiano, into one of their cafes, it has a smell that no other espresso place has because their coffee beans are so unique. it's really interesting, and it was one of the places that I used to go to when I worked in downtown Vancouver. There's several of their cafes scattered around downtown Vancouver. And then the other place that was good in Vancouver was a place called Bean Around the World. They were fairly consistent, but you walk into that place, like they always had good coffee, and you get good coffee out of there, but you walk into the place and Bean Around the World or some of the other ones, and they smelled like your average espresso place. But the Artigiano had a very unique smell and a unique flavor, and it's just amazing. Like I can't rate well enough. The guy that was here, he bought some beans, so we've been selling their beans here. I brought in, when we ordered bulk beans from them, we have like big 5-pound bags, and I was like, well, I wanted to test pricing and shipping time and all this other stuff, and then variety and a bunch of other stuff. So I've done 2 orders from them, and we brought in just their espresso reserve beans, and then we brought in their decaf, and then they have one other blend that's their house blend that they use for like the drip coffee and stuff like that. So we brought in all 3 of those in retail bags, and then just the big 5-pound bags that I fill my hopper with for myself. And we've been selling them, like consistently selling just the bags. We have a couple people that come in on a regular basis now and just sell the coffee beans, or just buy the coffee beans. So even if nobody buys like our espresso, they'll be buying the beans. So, and I think it's going to be one of those things too, that once I joke that nobody's going to buy the espresso, but I think that we'll do fine. People have been they've been seeing this setup now, and they're like, oh, you have coffee now, but not yet, soon. And they're like, they would have bought something if they knew. If we had it ready to go, they would have bought some coffee. And but once we start making the coffee, I keep saying this, I have no doubt that when we're up and going, we will have the best espresso on the island. That's going to be my goal, right? Like I want whoever it is that gives out awards, I want them to come here and go, this is the best coffee right here. And I think we'll be able to do it. And then the other thing, my other joke that I want to do is, and I'll put we're gonna do a thing. So we have the arcade, but then the store in the front, Sophia and I refer to it as Satellite Suites. It's its own entity. It's its own candy store. It's its own product. So when we get the coffee up and going, that will be part of Satellite Suites candy store. And that gives us 2 venues that we can market in different ways. So there will be a sign in the window. There'll be the Sevens Pinballorama one window, and then there'll be another one that says Satellite Suites and Espresso and da-da-da-da. So, and then the logo for it, I haven't drawn it up, but it's going to be like a Sputnik type thing. So our new logo is this, where it's round, Satellite Suites. We'll have the Sputnik round logo with the little antennae coming off of it, and it'll have whatever. So it'll be a round thing. They'll be similar, kind of at a glance. Now, whether or not people refer to the front store as like, oh, we went to Satellite Suites, they're probably just going to say we went to Sevens Pinballorama, right? But we want to do that. So then, in the future, if we end up opening at 8 a.m. just to do coffee, this whole room back here is going to be dark for that. Like, I'm not opening up the arcade at 8 a.m. And I don't want to hire people that are going to do that. The people, I'm not coming here at 8 a.m., but I'll hire someone to come in here. But they're just going to be barista types, right? They'll work the candy store, they'll work the espresso, they'll make sandwiches. That's it. I don't want them to have anything to do with this. And then at noon, they can go away, and then we'll have the arcade other people come in. But do you have a new strobe light thing or a new light setup? There is, if you're seeing a flashy strobe thing that goes off from time to time. Let's Camera Safari Adventure Time, and I'll show you because he's goofy. So I used to have in the store, and oh, he's going off right now. There he is. He's a little Sour Patch Kid. And he used to have a little tray on top of him that had product. And I got him, I thought he was super cute and everything, but he takes up a whole lot of room in the store and he doesn't display a whole lot of product. So I put him back here and I put a strobe light on his head, and that strobe light goes off every 5 minutes for a minute, I think, is what the timer is. And it's just kind of a fun thing to have. I wanted to put a knife in his hand, but and then light him from the bottom so he's like really creepy, but Sophia won't let me. That's I think the newest light that I have in here, and that's, you probably see that flashing off in the distance, and then we have like Nuka-Cola, fake neon signs, and all of these. This was one of those, we try it out. We had a lot of people asking about these types of signs. So I have one more alien, one more flying. Why do you not work? Oh, it's what it's plugged into. People asked if we sold these, so I brought some in to sell, and we haven't sold very many. So I might take, like the two flying saucer ones. I have a few flying saucers. I've mentioned this before. I want to make like a thing with the flying saucers and then a cow. I'm going to buy a cow neon one. And then I'll extend the little rays coming out of the flying saucer. So there'll be one flying saucer and then another one pulling the cow up. And then I'll stick that in the back somewhere. And then maybe I'll put a Pip-Boy and a Vault-Tec back there. We have some other ones that are kind of groovy stars, and lava. We have this little lava lamp one, which is really cool. So if by end of summer none of these really sell, and I really need a better way to display them, but just so you know that they're for sale, it's not very, I mean, I've got this sign, but people aren't really interested. But so we'll end up putting, I'll blow out what we didn't sell, and then I'll take the interesting ones, I'll put them in the back. Let's go look at our Camera Safari Adventure Time. Hopefully this will work. Oh, see. These are picnic benches. Hopefully I'm not breaking up. This is our little summer entry with our fake grass and our pink flamingo. And I want to change this around for different seasons and do different things. Like, I think it'd be really fun to do like a different type of floor and then make it look like you're on the moon or something. And like we can just change this around, fun. But this is our summer installation. We'll goof around with it. And then whilst I got this, I have my back doors open, which is awesome. We'll go take a look at that. The back door is open. It's really nice to have the air. I was kind of thinking about painting this, but I don't know what color. So right now it's unpainted. Black would make it kind of vanish, but I could do it up in maybe a red might look cool. I don't know. Red, I think red, if I did a color, it would be red probably. But, and then this table will eventually go away when we get the upstairs done. Yep, that's yeah, some extra flags. These are the other things that I'm selling. So we have the Brotherhood of Steel pennant and the Federation of Planets, which that's the Star Trek thing. We actually sell a bunch of these flags. That has been working out for us. So. Oh no, I read the private sign. Yeah, the little goofy sign. Oh yeah, speaking of, yeah. So there's the private sign. These are little metal signs. I've sold a few of these because there's a lot of farms. Alien ones, French one. I have one of these back on my workbench in the back, just because. Sugar Bomb one, little Fallout game stuff does really well. So I've been bringing a bunch of that in. There's some other ones. They're sort of scattered around. I brought them in just to see if they would sell. We got these in too. Like you can hide your dino DNA in a Barbasol safe. And then these are little safes. The bottoms unscrew. These have snakes in them. I've actually sold a lot of those. I don't know if I'll bring them back in again. They were fun to have, but it's one of those things like you bring something in, you try it. Like these, we haven't sold yet, and they're just kind of fun to have in. People enjoy. I see a lot of people picking them up and looking at them and laughing and talking about it. But people have been buying the snakes in the can. But I don't. People are too tempted to open them, and I don't want the snakes flying all over the place. And then like the dippy birds. Dippy birds. I sold a few of those, not as many as I had hoped, but you know, where can you go to buy a dippy bird? Or remote control poop, for that matter. We got these radiometers in. These are really cool. I haven't sold a single one yet, but I love science type toys. And then the other thing that we're trying are these keychains. We actually have sold quite a lot of them, especially like these little troll guys. I don't know, we sold probably 15 of these already. And the little squeaky chicken ones. We sold some of those. I like the little, they're just, you can get all kinds of different ones. And they're just little baubles for not very much. So kids see them and they really want them. Like, oh, cute, Mom, can I have one? Sure, it's $2.99. Take it, right? We make a buck off of them or whatever it is, so it all works out for everybody. Let me change this. Bloop. Let me change this. Bloop. Fantastico. For fun, you should put a do not press sign and a big red button that actually does something goofy, like plays a funny song and flashes lights in the bathroom or the arcade. So, funny you should mention that. On bar billiards, there's a lever that you would put your coin in, you pull the lever, that pulls the gate up, it starts the 15-minute timer, balls come out for 15 minutes, and then at one point the bar drops. So that little lever, every damn kid in the world comes up and pulls that thing. And they pull it like 6 or 7, they don't just pull it once, they like pull it once and they're like, it didn't do anything. So then they pull it harder and faster and more often, and it's just like, they've broken it already. At least once. I think another time it was kind of glitchy, but so I put a little thing on it. All right, camera safari adventure time while I'm at it. While I'm here. It's the most infuriating thing ever. I'm not going to switch to the camera safari, but so it's this little lever right here. And now there's a little thing that says, what does that say? Please don't pull lever. They pull this and they read this and then they pull this. And so I thought about putting a buzzer or something on it. And then after they pull it, I'd be able to like say, oh my God, did you pull that? I've done that a few times actually. But I have a switch. And I have thought about this. So I have a switch that was in the other location that was, it's a wireless switch. Where is it? So I had this on the wall. I bought 2 of them. This was on the wall. It had a little sign on it that said disco party. And then it turns on, when you hit this switch, it turns on this outlet. Bloop. That's all it is, right? This outlet went to the motor that spun the big disco ball and some extra lights and stuff. So you would turn on the disco party. I'm going to start the thing. And I had that just right next to the disco booth. And I thought it'd be fun. Like, we could turn it on and off. Like, sometimes the lights and the lasers and all that would drive people nuts. So we could turn that off and they could sit there so I have this. And I have two switches. They're on the same radio frequency, but I have two of these, and one of these switches turns on both of the outlets because they're on the same frequency. So you could cause all kinds of trouble with that, right? And you could have a do not turn on this switch. Under no circumstances turn on this switch. And you could have it do all kinds of tomfoolery, right? But it has to be loud, it has to be short, it has to embarrass the crap out of them, and then it has to be funny, right? So it says do not hit the switch. They hit it anyway. It makes a big ruckus. Did I not switch that over? I didn't. Did I switch that? Did I switch that over so you could read the sign? Anyway, pretty sure I did. It's got to scare them and embarrass them, but not enough to traumatize them. But yes, I would love to do that. Ideally, if I could, I don't have anything, but if I could find something because you turn the switch on and it just turns the outlet on. What I need is something then that engages for 20 seconds or something, like some sort of, it turns on a timer that engages the outlets for 20 seconds. That would be great, because then you could do a siren, you could do flashy lights, you could do a big sign that turns on that says idiot, or I don't know what. But then it turns off, right? Whether or not you turn the switch on or not. And then the switch would be on, but the circuit would be off. You would have to turn the breaker off, or you'd have to turn the switch off and then turn it back on again for that thing to engage again. And I don't know what that thing is. I mean, maybe I don't know. I haven't really looked deep into it. I've thought about it, but I haven't really dug around of what type of thing would do that. And I'm sure that there's something out there that is just off the shelf thing that it runs on 120 volts AC current. You turn it on and it does a thing for a set time. I had a switch in an old house for a fan that it just had a little rotatey kind of guy, and you could turn it and it would set it for 5 minutes and it would run the outlet for 5 minutes and then shut off. Or you could do it to 10 minutes or 5 minutes or 1 minute or whatever. And it's essentially that without the little dial that you set every time. There's got to be something out there. I just need to look it up. But that would be hilarious. I think that would be great fun. Yeah. And I don't know where I would put it. It would have to be somewhere like maybe central here so I could point and laugh at them. Or I could act like, oh my God, what have you done? Just to like get a little bit extra, Yeah, great fun. I have lots of lights. I have lots of odds and ends and things. I actually have something I've been meaning to put it in Royal Rumble. It's actually the bell that they use for boxing and wrestling matches, and that bell is a fire bell, right? It's like any of those dome-shaped fire bells, and they hit it with the hammer, and they go boing. But and then if it's a fire bell, it's got a solenoid that fires against it. So I thought, how perfect is that? Royal Rumble has a knocker in it that hits the cabinet. well, what if I had it hit the fire bell instead? And ding, right? So I have never gotten around to hooking that, to putting that in there, which I don't know why. It only takes a second to do. You move the knocker and you put the thing in there and you put the knocker so the knocker knocks into it and you're done. I just haven't done it yet. So I could have it do that, like it engages a solenoid that makes a big ding sound as part of the surprise. If I had a way to pre-charge like a fog machine, it would have to be hot all the time, but that would be funny to like where the switch is. It would be cool to make it look like something was short-circuiting and fog came out. I mean, I suppose you could do, well, okay, so you could do like smoky vapor thingies. That's not a super high voltage. That's just going on a little coil, a little wire coil that basically heats up. So you could make something like that, and you just have a wick that sits in fog juice, and there's just a wick that like a cotton wick that sits in the fog juice, and that's always wet, and then there's wire that wraps around it that you apply energy to, and that would make the coils heat up, and that would cause smoke, just like when you hit the little button on a vaporizer, and that's basically all that thing is. So I could actually have on-demand smoke. You just need some sort of air blower, like an air blower that's out of a fish tank. That would work. That's just it's just got a little diaphragm that just moves like this, and it just pumps air. So you could use that to force air over a little container. So yeah, smoke would be easy to make. On-demand smoke. Not a lot, but just enough to make it seem like something broke. Ooh, now I'm thinking. Metal box. Says high voltage. You could do, it's got the switch next to it. That switch is battery powered. You could put that on another box, like an external outlet box, like a conduit, like armored box, with wires coming out of it that don't connect to anything but look creepy scary. And then that says, has a piece of tape over it that says do not turn on, handwritten, caution, do not turn on. And then there's next to it is like an electrical box looking thing. In the electrical box, you have AC power that just, you could do that through an extension cord, and the device plugs into the extension cord. So you could have smoke coming out of this fake circuit breaker box, or you could get one of the old ones with the screw-in fuses, with the little you remember those? And so you just have smoke. It would just be exposed. That would be cool. It would just all these, and I'm sure I could find one of those those old screw-in fuse panels. I could probably find a ton of them on the island. So you have that, and that's exposed, so you get to see all those fuses, and then that causes that you have all the mayhem coming from behind that, and you could have a little bit of smoke coming out, and a red orange strobe light kind of thing, so it looks like something's shorting out in there, and then something that just goes zzz, zzz, zzz. Another goofy thing is gluing a coin to the ground and watch everybody try to pick it up. Way ahead of you on that. So we did the white floor here. This is 2-part epoxy. We did that here and in the washrooms, and it's just got all these colors. There's one area. This is plywood. It's a raised plywood floor. And why did I do that here anyway? Oh, because I want to be taller than everybody. We had a raised floor at the other place that we had our counter on because you're looking down on your customers, and there's sort of this like it's a psychological thing, but you're not looking down on them, like not in that way, but yeah. Anyway, so we raised this floor up just a little bit so that it was like at the other space, and it's kind of easier to see down on what kids are up to and all this other stuff. So that's the only reason why we raised this floor up here. It serves no other purpose. So I actually built it basically the day that we poured at the last minute, the day that we were scheduled to pour this epoxy. So I didn't spend enough time finishing this floor. And on plywood, you have multiple layer plywood. Sometimes there's like a knot underneath it, and the thin top layer of wood doesn't laminate well, and it just comes off. So we have a section right down here where that has come off. So to fix it, it's just wood there. It's just a little place that's exposed wood, and the two-part epoxy has come off. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to paint it white, and then take clear epoxy, two-part epoxy, and I'll just pour it on top of there, and you probably won't ever notice it. But this is cement floor, and there's little divots all in it. There's some places where it's like a big chunk, and it goes down, a quarter inch down. So I did actually think what would be really funny is when I'm messing with this clear epoxy, is go to a few of these places where they have those little divots in the floor and put something in there and cover it with clear epoxy. So maybe it's a coin, maybe it's a toy, a bottle cap, something like that. But once you fill it with the clear epoxy, then it will be level with the floor. And there's probably, well, if I walk around, so there's one here, a quarter would fit into this one. Here we go, Camera Safari, Adventure Time again. I think Sophia just messaged me actually. Let's have a look here real quick. Outlane Pinball, hey, how are ya? We're talking about tomfoolery. I gotta wipe my thing off here real quick. There, that's a little bit better. Yeah, so there's these little divots in the floor. So this one, it's right here. There you go. A quarter would fit in there nicely, and then just fill that with epoxy. There's another one. There's a good one over here somewhere. There's a couple of them. There's one right here. There's one in there. There's a couple in there. There's one there, and there's one there. They actually had, I think in this area, no, maybe it was in the back. They had some big industrial shelves that were bolted to the ground, and we pulled the things out. Like here, there was a bolt hole here. We pulled the bolts out. But yeah, so there's those. These are awesome. There's actually 1, 2, 3, 4, so I could do all kinds of fun stuff there. There's actually there's another one here, right there. There's a big crack here. You won't be able to see it. There's a big crack right here that I need to fill in. And then there's a couple more over here. There's a nice big one right here that we could put all kinds of fun stuff in. And I think that's about it. There's one little one right here. And then I have this whole ramp that I could do all kinds of crazy stuff with. We did the same on this floor as the other floor. This one has a whole lot more UV reactive stuff. So it's glowing from the black light that's up there. And some of this glows in the dark actually. You can't really see it on here, but the UV reactive glow in the dark stuff, you can see it really well in here right now. And when you turn off the lights, this still glows. So, I didn't want to kind of promote people turning off the bathroom lights and playing in there in the dark. Just, because you don't really want to promote that when kids are around. Because they'll break stuff. Yeah, so I have thought about putting something in a few of these just for shits and giggles. That's the little part that has come up. The rest of it's kind of holding up okay. And it was mostly an experiment to see if it would work. I guess I can show you the back since it's all cleaned up too. Well, while I'm at it, we have a couple of sinks, hand sink. This is our freeze dryer that we have been wanting to get running for a while. That's a big grinder, little ice guy. Yeah. Anyway. But yeah, it's funny that you mentioned those things because I've been thinking about it already. I'm all about, like, I love the idea of like having like little Easter eggs hidden around. So maybe in like one of those that's kind of hidden away, we could put in a little Pac-Man or something, and then cover it and have it that glows under the black light, so people are, oh, there's a little Pac-Man in here, right? We have there's actually up here, right there, up above this weird light, that is one of these. It's a little Pip-Boy bobblehead that's hiding up there, and so it's fun that people walk around and they look up and all of a sudden they realize, holy crap, that's a Pip-Boy bobblehead hiding up there. How do I get it? It's the agility one. Crap, I can't get it. And there's actually a mini nuke up on the thing here, and I want to find a place to hide that too, a Fallout mini nuke. And but I do want to fill this place with little Easter eggs, but just so every time you come in, maybe you'll notice something different. And they could be video. There's tons of video games references that I can do. That would be fun. And even stuff like little things from Wreck-It Ralph, or stuff that kids are gonna know as well. I could do like some of the Atari 2600 classic shapes, like their little tank guys. I could do the little Space Invader guys. Get a paint pen, just draw it, little thing somewhere, right? Outlane says, I picked up a Mars Trek pinball today. That's a hell of a game. I love Mars Trek. That's underrated, super underrated game. Because you can, if you get it dialed in just right, that little double spinner thing, that can be a little bit of a, get that dialed in just right so that when you go around they both spin really well. Yeah. New place looks a lot bigger. It's twice the size. It is twice the square feet of the other place, but we have a lot more space dedicated for, I mean, it's not twice the arcade floor space, because we have this whole front retail space. We have the back room, we have this. I have my new workshop, takes up space. We're hosting our own washrooms. We're in the other space we didn't have washrooms. We have that a bit of square footage that gets eaten away for the ramp to get them up to the wheelchairs can get up to the washrooms. But we do have more games in here than we had in the other location, and we just have more, more of this room, more elbow room. We had like 40 something people in here the other day, and at the other location 40 people, and it really started to feel a little like there's 40 people in a little tiny space. In here it felt like, it didn't feel like there was 40 people. It didn't feel like there was anybody still in here. And that's been the weird thing too, is that we've been much busier at this location. I think I had talked about this before. Our May to me, so when we open here end of November, December, January, super busy. But at the other location, December, January, super busy. That sort of started to die down at the other location. That traffic would die down February, March. And then things would pick up in May, June, and then end of June, July, super crazy busy again. So May, to me, felt like it was slow here. And I was like kind of bummed out. I was like, God, we're so slow. But when we went and we looked at the numbers, we never slowed down in February, March, or April. We kept going. So that lull in May that we saw, where, I mean, this place is much bigger, so when we have more people in here, it doesn't seem as crowded. It's just a different kind of mindset. Like, it's just, so I was thinking, God, May, we're really slowed down and everything. We compared it to last year's May, and we did double the traffic. We did double the money in this place. And I was thinking that we were like dead slow in May. It was just weird because it doesn't, when this place has 30, 40 people in it, it doesn't feel like there's 30 to 40 people in here. It feels like you just got a couple people in here. So, yeah. Outlane says, JRSC says Easter eggs are great to have. Outlane asked, did you get the shooting game dialed in? No, I haven't. It still doesn't have, the birds still aren't working because we got moved and we've been busy and I haven't had my workshop. So, but now I have my workshop. So, still not perfect. Still needs a little bit of that, you know. But it's actually to the point that I can start working on something, and then I'll get everything figured out as I go. But it's mostly cleaned up back there now. There's I have some stuff I need to take to storage and just get out of this space. And I have a lot more room in my storage unit that's in town now because I pulled those two. I pulled two single-player Williams that we had at the old location. I pulled them off the floor and we put them into storage here. And I brought those into the workshop, fix them up, sell them, get them out of here. That's Triple Action and Superstar. Both 1972, 1973 type single player. They're fine. They're players' quality machines. So I can get a few $100 for them. But I need to get the shooting game figured out. The triple. I know what's wrong with it. It's just a matter of fixing it. And then I have my Dragon machine. The start motor is, the score motor is grinding. I went over there and it was cycling. I don't know how long it had been going. That's one of the problems with the bigger spaces. When the machine goes haywire, you don't always hear it right away. So I went over and I realized it was grinding, and I opened up the coin door because sometimes you just have to tap one of the switches on the score motor on that machine and it stops cycling. Well, I opened up the coin door and I could smell it. It was hot smelling, and the score motor was grinding, like just. I have already pulled that score motor apart and rebuilt it. I fear that something has gone really south with it, but I haven't looked at it yet. I'm too scared because those score motors are like unobtainium. I think Interflip only made like a couple of games, and they're from the mid 60s or mid 70s. I know that John Robertson at John's Jukes in Vancouver, he had a bunch of dragons. Actually, a friend of mine too, my friend Don, he had 6 or 7 dragons, new in box, a few years back, and I think he's got some dragon parts. So I suppose I could talk to either of them. They both had new in box dragons a few years ago, and they have some parted ones. So I might be able to score a motor, but it's going to be expensive because they're rarity items. They're different. The motors are totally different, and each machine has 2 of them. So there's they're really unique machines. most EM machines have a score motor in the cabinet. Dragons have a score motor as the same score motor, but it is up in the back box as well, and it does scoring and bonus stuff. So you have the one below and the one up in the back box. But so I guess that's the benefit, is that they're hard motors to find. I don't think you could jerry rig another motor on there. Maybe you could, but it's kind of nice that there's 2 motors per game. So if your machine is completely hooped, you got 2 motors to sell. I can see your Mars Trek legs. They are different than other pin leg bolts. Sorry, wait. Let me read this again. JRSC first says, "Can you do another coin door collection video soon? See how much quarters you collected." It's been less here. I still see a few in there, but we might have $10 in there, not like we had before. But I do want to do that. Outlane says, "Could I see your Mars Trek legs? They are different than other pin legs. Bolts look smaller, and the legs on mine have braces on the inside of the legs. Is yours the same way?" No, I have standard. I think they're just standard Williams legs. The 34 or whatever's. Let's look. Safari Adventure Time. Here we go. All right, so let's clean my lens first because it got smudgy again. Let's go grab. Yeah, this is my workshop. I have 2 machines there. This is one that was on. I think that these were on the Data East Tales from the Crypt machine. And these are, what size? Sorry, I'm going to set this phone down for just a half a second while I get my thing out. These are, okay, these are 28.5s, which are, I think, the standard William height. Like a standard William height? Nope. Yep. Yeah. These are standard William size ones. And the holes they're the same on all of them. Yeah, this has just a 28.5, I think. Yep, they're the same. And this one it's like cranked up, but it's the same bolt spacing and everything. So yeah, 28.5 would work on that. Mars Trek. Yeah, I'll show you since I'm here. Let's see if we can see in here. I know we can see it when we turn it on. It's got this funny little, it's going to grind away here. That's the score motor. And that is not, it's turning, but it's not spinning the rest of it. So maybe it's just a gear that has stripped out. I don't know. I'm scared to look at it. I love Dragon. That's one of my favorite EM machines. It's so difficult. And the acrylic playfield is just fantastic. And yeah, I'll be really sad if that one is taking some serious damage. And it's weird too that Interflip Dragon machines are not seen on the East Coast very often. They're a little bit of a rarity. There's a bunch of them, and the shit ton of them in Vancouver. They're all over in Vancouver because the guy who ran the, he was a operator, and if you look up the Time Tunnel Warehouse, I think it is, he had a warehouse in Vancouver when he died. Multiple floors filled to the brim, stuffed with machines, and it was just a horde of stuff. He had ordered a bunch of Sonic machines and a bunch of Interflip machines. At some point, he had like brand new Butterfly made by Sonic. He had brand new in this warehouse, and this I think this was sometime in the 2000s or something that he died. But my friend Don and John Robson, who has John's Dukes, they both got a portion of this time travelers, time zone, whatever the hell, this warehouse. You have this horde of machines. So they both had brand new in the box Sonic Butterflies and Interflip Dragons. I think Don had 6 or 7 of them at some point. And he had a few brand new butterflies. I have both a dragon and a butterfly that went through this guy's hands at some point. The dragon I bought in Vancouver, and butterfly I got off of Vancouver Island, but they had both been through the time traveler distributor. Yeah. Good to know if I want cleaner legs, 28.5 non-ribbed should match pretty close. Yeah, any of the 28.5s are fine. That's most of them in here, I think, are those. I have a couple machines that use the like wonky leg pairs. So one of them is, I think they're smaller than a 28 for the front, and then the back are like 30 something. That's Gottlieb from the 60s. Gottlieb Shipmates has that weird machine that has sort of this weird front belly on it, and so the cabinet goes way down in the front because it has this weird little thing. Let's see if I can find a picture of it. I don't know why Gottlieb did this. Oh, my browser's open. But it's the weirdest thing ever. Ship dash mates pinball. Is this the right one? Yes, here we go. There's a picture of the cabinet. Where's a picture of this stupid cabinet? It's got that wacky thing going on, right? So the back legs are a different measurement than the front legs, because you can actually see on this that the back leg holes are much higher. So the back legs are like 30 somethings and the fronts are, I don't know, maybe they'll tell us on this. No, it doesn't say. They had several machines that look like that, but yeah, super wacky. And then of course the Bally Blackwater 100 has that weird ass cabinet. Both machines, like, you can't use like trying to haul those things around with a hand truck. Forget about it. Like, you gotta. I think when I move shipmates, I grab it by the side, because that bulbous little front area, it makes it slip off the little. Unless you have a really long thing on your hand truck, you can't move them on like an appliance dolly type situation. It just won't work. And then Blackwater 100 has that. They have an extra thing that lives inside of the cabinet. And it's supposed to make up for the weird, because the bottom is slanted, and it slants from the front to the back up, and so the back legs are much higher. You can't haul that on a hand truck either, not comfortably. Although I figured out, and I have a video of it where, because I don't think I have 2 of those. My first one didn't have that piece, I didn't think, and then I later figured out that it's where it's stored on the inside, but I didn't anyway, so I never hauled it with that thing, and it's just a wedge. It's a piece of wood wedge thingy. But I actually put, when I move that, I lay a strap, a ratchet strap on the ground, and then I take a piece of like 3/4 inch plywood or something, put that on the ground, and then I put the machine on top of it, and then I ratchet strap that. So I've got this piece of wood ratchet strap to the bottom, and that gives me enough lip that I could haul it on a thing. It's a little extra step, but it's a lot easier than, it actually is easier than lifting the playfield, pulling this thing out of the playfield, and then you're supposed to actually physically screw it to the one side of the bottom of the belly of the machine. Weird. Yeah, so we're closed in 15 minutes. I should probably close. I don't think I'm gonna have anybody in. I try to stay open because we do have, like, on regular weeknights, we do have people that come in, like if we close at 8, we have people that come in at 7:30 to buy candy and stuff. So I try to stay open later, but I don't think anybody's gonna come by and buy candy at 10:45 at night. So I think I'm gonna close. So thanks for tuning in, guys. I had hoped it would be a little bit busy, but next weekend, forget about it. So I think we're just going to be nuts. If it's not too crazy busy, let's see, school, the last day of school is, where's my calendar? Last day of school is on the 26th. So that's for general school on the island. So the 27th probably will be Friday the 27th. There's, like, everybody's out of school. It's the first night of summer. I think we're going to be pretty busy. I should actually look and see. It was a day or two maybe after school was out. Like, school was out and kids just goofed off at home, but then it was like a few days later, then forget about it. Like, it was like we had to get, like, the parents are like, we got to get the kids out of the house before I kill them. I should look and see historically what day, whether it was the very next night that was busy. I think the weekend will be busy, but I can't remember because I think they always have the last day of school is on a Thursday. Now I can't remember if Fridays are, if we start seeing them on Friday or if it's Saturday that have. So I'll look that up. We'll see. If I can, if it isn't too nuts. It's hard to do a live stream when there's a ton of people in here. If we aren't too terribly busy, then we'll do one next weekend. But maybe we can do one on Friday when Sophia's here. But anyway, that's enough of that. Thanks for tuning in, and I'm gonna turn this thing off, and I'm gonna turn off machines, and I'm gonna go